Hi there, I'm Ashok Khosla. Welcome to the weekly environment business program, The Green Show. With the growing number of environmental catastrophes around us, it is obvious that we cannot hide our heads in the sand for much longer. Time is running out. If we do not address our environmental problems today, then we will not need to worry about other problems at all. Our survival and well-being is tied by an invisible umbilical cord to our environment. Just as a sick and undernourished mother cannot give birth to a healthy child, a spoiled and poisoned ecosystem cannot nurture a healthy human existence.
Today, we take you to Madras, where people have taken to the broom to keep the city clean. We also have a waste into profit success story being implemented by VAM Organics. And finally, The Green Show has a feature on the Catalytic Convertor, which is soon going to be mandatory for every car in India. According to the WHO, 12 of the 15 cities with the highest level of airborne particulate matter are in Asia.
The cleanest place in an Indian city is probably the dustbin. One can find garbage anywhere and everywhere except where it should be, the garbage dump. In fact, most of our cities have become merely an extension of the garbage dump. The reasons for this are not difficult to find. Sanitary habits seem to be considered unproductive by an average Hindustani. People love to litter and blame the government for not cleaning up the mess. On their part, the superbly inefficient municipal bodies get active only when a minister or so-called VIP is due to visit. Waiting for the municipality to clean our cities could prove suicidal, as we have recently seen in the plague outbreak. The only solution seems to be to follow the example of Mahatma Gandhi and take the broom in our own hands and put garbage in its real place.
There is one thing amply clear after the recent plague outbreak, that Madras, whose muggy climate ensures that garbage rots at a pace which the city's corporation can't catch up with, is today on its way to becoming one of the cleanest cities in the country.
So we want to bring this to the notice of the corporation and every authorities and every common man, every public, to make aware of them, every individual, to keep. This is inside the house, we are keeping the house very beautifully, very neat and clean. We are putting luxurious fitments, everything, sofa set, this and that, what and all. But we are simply throwing the garbage outside, making dirty the surroundings, the road.
And there is one organization, barely 5 years old, that is playing a pivotal civic role in keeping 1,300 streets, 20% of the city squeaky clean. Ex-Nora International.
During the freedom struggle, Mahatma Ji united Indians because we had a common enemy, the British. Now the common enemy, according to the garbage. So I thought, as a matter of fact, I would say, these factors have enabled me to unite Indians. This is a problem to everybody, whatever religion or caste one may belong to, he is forced to face this problem of environment and bad surroundings. So we took up that issue. We found, incidentally, apart from the people ensured keeping their surroundings clean, they come together. This, I should say, bonus of Ex-Nora movement.
Civic Ex-Nora, one of Ex-Nora International's most active departments, chartered a simple but unusually effective plan to get their citizens not only to keep the interiors of their houses clean, but even their surroundings. In fact, to preempt graffiti that is endemic in Madras, Ex-Nora has had the walls painted with pictures of gods and goddesses and film stars.
When we started, the response was good in Lloyds Road. Then slowly we came to other parts like Teachers Colony and this Krishnapuram. And today, with this function, people have got more faith and they are definitely believing, because actually the faith of the people should make us to work more. So the more faith they have, they will also cooperate, and we have been telling those people, everybody has to participate, because actually the people's movement is Ex-Nora.
The system has Ex-Nora's members dump their waste into bamboo baskets kept in their houses. Come morning, a street beautifier, a kinder expression for a rag picker, collects the domestic junk in a cart and peddles it to the closest municipal dump. Each member pays a small sum for the service, rupees 10 a month, which goes in part as salary for the beautifier.
So what we do in Exnora, to instill the confidence, we start with some action. Because this country, we have spoken and we spoiled ourselves by talking. So we don't believe in speaking, but we believe in speaking or the talk by a broomstick. The broomstick, when you go in action and start sweeping, every week we go to some slums and silently, without fanfare, without camera, without publicity, without media, we do this sweeping campaign. By the strength of broomstick, we're able to rally people. And the people have understood that our only motive is to serve them.
Over time, the Exnora family has also settled in smaller cities like Madurai, forming a civic-minded chain link with organizations like the Rotary Club, the Lions, JCs, and the Round Table. All of them share at least one agenda: urban hygiene and cleanliness, with people themselves being responsible for their habitations. In that sense, Exnora is a vigilant group working outside but supplementing the work of the government. A few industries have already participated in and sponsored some of Exnora's activities. Some more corporate participation would only help to expand the program.
For entry, for membership, we fixed a fee of 50 rupees as advised by Exnora parent body, and we are collecting 15 rupees per month for making the streets clean. With that funds, what we have approached the other institutions like Sterling Magnum, who have come forward to contribute 50% of the vehicle cost of the vehicle. That is, the total cost of the vehicle is about 5,000 rupees. 2,500 rupees they have already given. For balance 2,500 rupees, we have approached the bank for loan.
And so far, no company came forward except 2 or 3 companies who have done very well. They are very small or medium-sized companies. They have done that. We are yet to get support from the big companies.
This kind of work makes Exnora eminently capable of playing the role of mediator between lay citizens and the government. Through the forum of civic Exnoras in various towns, which is a loose federation, each informs the other of problems, solutions, and basic demands.
We have so many other uses for the waste. For example, the organic waste emanating from the kitchen, the garden leaves, can be with the help of the worms. You know well, the worms once were considered as the friends of farmers. Today, we call worms as friends of environment. They eat this organic waste, and what it leaves is something very worthy fertilizer. This is one aspect. There are so many other ways, recyclable waste and combustible waste, where you can burn and get electricity out of it. Ultimately, you'll find the best wealth is waste. That's what we are trying to propagate, and we are very successful with it.
There is little that Exnora won't do to keep the city clean. On occasion, it has taken the help of film stars with brooms to bring home the message as powerfully as possible. And this imaginative use of human resources has paid off. Civic Exnora started out with 20 dedicated people, and its membership now stands at over 2 lakh.
I got involved in it because when I came back from Pilani, I found one part of Lloyd's Road was very clean. The other looked really, pretty bad. That end of BN Street has, become very clean after the 4 years when I came back. Whereas our area is still strewn with cow dung and whatnot. So I thought I should, try to do something. I just called up Exnora International, and they sort of took over. They told me what to do, and they guided me, and people here responded.
Going by Exnora's example, it does seem that alert urban civic vigilantism is the only way to keep that giant organism, the city, clean as a whistle. Exnora is not an option, it is an imperative. Even today, more than 4,000 cases are pending in different courts of India related to air and water pollution, rights over water resources, the environmental impact of development, and the right to information on the state of the environment.
Next time you see your favorite drink, think of biogas. Yes, in addition to making one feel peppy, alcohol could also make industrialists, farmers, and environmentalists equally happy. The main effluent that comes out of a distillery is akin to liquid gold. Instead of letting it go out as waste, VAM Organics decided to convert this thick, brown, foul-smelling liquid into profits. The result? The company today is laughing all its way to the bank. The next story will surely raise your spirits.
This is one for those who love the bottle. That alcohol is not your liver's best friend is your own business. That it also makes the environment unsteady and ultimately sociopathic is society's business. So if you believe in the maker pays dictum of global environmental justice, alcohol manufacturers had better cough up for their ecological mischief.
We believe we as an industry, this is our contribution to the program of environment protection, that whatever is the pollution which is coming from a chemical industry, we try to eliminate that pollution. And this is the way we can contribute to this global problem of environment protection.
There is evidence that at least one company in India is doing just that, spewing effluents from an alcohol distillery into the environment with the evil taken out of them. And it is saving enough money on energy generation to knock competition into the gutter.
We are the largest distillery today in India. And as probably everybody knows, distillery is a major polluting industry today, as it is considered. In the process of alcohol manufacturing, since it's a fermentation process, we get large quantity of wastewater. For every liter of alcohol we make, it produces about 12 liters of wastewater with it. And therefore the size of the problem is quite large. So as the management accepted the problem and the responsibility to solve the problem, then the technical people started looking for the technology world over, what kind of processes are in use. And ultimately we concluded that this anaerobic digestion, which would produce biogas from this wastewater, company decided to adopt this technology.
VAM Organic Chemical Limited's alcohol plant at Gajraula in Uttar Pradesh uses the biogas it produces instead of burping it off into the atmosphere. It is a fairy tale financial killing. Biogas saved the company rupees 224 lakhs over the past financial year. When the distillery was commissioned in 1982, effluent treatment had two buzzwords: biogas generation and incineration. The technologies for both were taking their first tentative steps. VOCL went in for biogas, invested about rupees 2 crores in it, and then sat on it and incubated it for 2 years. In time, the biogas plant, handling a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide, became so successful that it was rechristened from a mere effluent treatment plant to a full-fledged production plant.
We have a large steam generation capacity, and this biogas could be directly used in the boilers for steam generation, furnaces where we use our processes. And then the decision was taken to increase the capacity. As we went on increasing the capacities of our distillery, we also went on increasing the capacity of the biogas plant. And today we have reached a capacity of this biogas plant which can produce roughly about 90,000 cubic meters of biogas per day, which is equivalent in terms of energy to about 100 tons of coal per day. Now part of this biogas we used in the furnaces. These are cracking furnaces where we do the cracking of acetic acid to make acetic anhydride. In these furnaces earlier we used to use petroleum fuels like kerosene or diesel, and that has been replaced by biogas, which has been a very good saving for us.
But biogas production pumps out a virtual deluge of wastewater. A collaborative research program with the GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology was commissioned, prompted by the fact that people have for decades used wastewater from distilleries for irrigation.
In fact, the observations which we have recorded during last 3 years, some of it are already being practiced on farmers' field. And farmers have started making use of that information so that they can enhance their productivity. And in fact, the basic idea of this project is how best this effluent can be utilized in agriculture under different situations. And we are looking at short-term as well as long-term perspectives. For example, the field that you see here, this field has been irrigated with effluent for last 3 years. Now the plot here, it has been irrigated with tube well water, no effluent, whereas in the adjoining one, it has been irrigated with the effluent. And now you can see very clearly the difference. That is, over the years, there has been a buildup of the soil fertility, which would certainly enhance the productivity at times to come.
The only supportive data for the program came from similar programs in Brazil and Cuba. Biogas wastewater contains organic compounds including proteins, dead yeast cells, residual sugars, waxes, fats and fibers, and some inorganic compounds of potassium and calcium. Ferti irrigation, as it is called, has a high plant nutrition value.
So if we use it for irrigation purposes, many of these nutrient requirements can be met through this. And the farmers are really realizing that. They say instead of putting the fertilizer, if we irrigate with it, we get the same results.
The results were cheering. Sugarcane, wheat, rapeseed, maize, sorghum, and cowpeas increased in both height and yield. Ferti irrigation led to the reduction in soil acidity, increased the availability of some nutrients, increased the retention of positively charged ions, increased water retention capacity, improved the physical structure of the plants, and increased microbial population.
Very high value for reclaiming the land, what we call a ooser land. Incidentally, in this area, there are certain lands which have very high salt content, and farmers are using this to reclaim those soils.
Now for the desert. Most of the carbon dioxide that VOCL's plant produces during fermentation is sold to Coca-Cola in India. So who says that biogas is only for exhausted housewives in the energy-depressive villages of rural India? Over 102 million tons of 110,000 chemicals are produced and marketed every year. The toxic effects of 80% of these on human life still remains unknown.
We love to ape the West. Whether it is food, fashion, furniture, or fun, much of our lifestyles have a foreign content. What we do not copy from the West is a sense of punctuality, cleanliness, civic sense, efficiency, or work culture. The list is endless. This is also true of our cars. Wouldn't we all love to possess a Mercedes or a BMW or at least a Desi version of some sleek import? But have you ever cared to look at the underside of your favorite foreign car to notice that thing attached to the exhaust pipe? Today we tell you about catalytic converters and how they make the environment less poisonous.
April 1st is the day starting which the Union Ministry of Environment and Forests has made it legally mandatory for all petrol-driven four-wheeler passenger vehicles in Delhi, Bombay, Madras and Calcutta to incorporate catalytic converters in order to drastically reduce auto exhaust pollution levels, which account for as much as 73% of the airborne pollution in urban areas. To a layperson, a catalytic converter may sound like an enormously complicated, high-priced automobile add-on with little utility value. It is none of these. Simply put, it is a small device that can be attached in minutes to the exhaust manifold of an internal combustion engine and cut down exhaust emission pollution by 70%. What it does is oxidize and render harmless carbon monoxide and polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which constitute over 90% of the pollutants that an auto engine releases into the air.
For the catalysis to work, you need certain conditions. You need elevated temperatures, you need certain concentrations of oxygens in the exhaust gas. We refer to a factor called lambda actually. Technically there's a factor called lambda, which is nothing but the excess air factor. We don't, ideally a three-way catalyst which has got platinum and rhodium doped on it can convert up to 90% provided we are able to control the excess air factor to 1 plus minus 0.02. But that is not possible under all driving conditions. So whenever you get these conditions which are where you control the lambda in these ranges, you can get up to 90% of catalysis. But in an actual road, you may have anywhere between 30 to 60 or 30 to 90, depending upon the conditions.
The problem is that a catalytic converter requires a few but essential technical changes in engine design. First, at the moment, only the Maruti range of automobiles have engines that can be fitted with catalytic converters with no changes at all. As for the rest of the industry, well, it will have to spend a few crores redesigning its engine assembly line. Second, catalytic converters available the world over work only on unleaded petrol, which is produced in India in negligible quantities. Here, lead is actually added to the fuel to increase its octane rating to the internationally accepted level of 93, which makes petrol more easily combustible, but also far more polluting. The West has got over this problem by substituting lead with the chemical monotetrabenzene ethyl, which has none of lead's dangerously high polluting characteristics. This chemical is not available in India, and importing it will punch a giant hole in India's foreign exchange exchequer, at least till the country starts producing it in 1997. There are apprehensions that the conversion may eventually be rather problematic. Parts of India will have unleaded cleaner petrol, most of it won't. The question is, how will converted vehicles refuel during long-distance intercity drives? So, clean air is expensive. The fuel apart, there is only one company in India that has so far signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Petroleum to manufacture catalytic converters. Sona Steering Limited in Bombay signed the MOU in March last year, but is still waiting quietly in the wings for the order to come through so that it can begin production.
There are 4 agencies involved in the manufacture of catalysts, and like we, as an automobile manufacturer, we are the end user of catalysts. So that is one. So there are 3 more people behind who are working to make this possible. One is the ceramic manufacturer, and the other is the coater, who after one gets the ceramic, extruded ceramic, and he puts the precious metal coating on it. And the third one is the canner, who converts it into a form which is ready for assembly onto the vehicle, as per the vehicle manufacturer's needs. So if you look at it, there are 4 parties involved in it. So an entrepreneur will have to select at which level he wants to enter in this.
On its own, the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute in Nagpur claims to have developed a catalytic converter that can work smoothly in India's harsh climatic conditions. The institute claims that its converter will cost only Rs 3,000, have a life expectancy of 25,000 kilometers, and work even on leaded petrol. The institute's know-how will be provided to Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, which is due to begin manufacture in the next 6 months. But catalytic converters are only a means to an end, not a complete answer to the problem of urban air pollution. But it is a beginning, even if it is a belated one.
Like the growing quality consciousness on products, eco-consciousness will soon emerge to be just as vital for successful business. Smart companies have woken up to this fact. For others, the countdown has begun. They must recognize the massive environmental and social costs we all might have to pay if they don't act fast. We at The Green Show urge the business community not to lie low and join us in the quest for alternatives that can coexist with nature.